Tim's News Explosion. 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 Tim's News Explosion.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Tim's News Explosion. We on this
Tim's News Explosion. 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 Tim's News Explosion.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Tim's News Explosion on this Monday, the 7th of August, 2023. We are live on the Wilmsfront YouTube channel, the Wilmsfront Odyssey channel, and back on the Wilmsfront Rumble channel, and finally have got Power Chats up. I figured out how to do it since Entropy, its new system, is just unworkable, so I have put the link into the YouTube live chat. Hello to everyone. Welcome. It's been another busy news week. It is 8:30 p.m. here in Melby, Victoria. Melby is the new nickname that the US women's national soccer team gave Melbourne when they were training for their fateful game on Sunday night, last night at Melbourne's Rectangular Stadium, where they crashed out against Sweden in a penalty shootout, with former co-captain Megan Rapinoe missing the crucial penalty during the penalty shootout, which is the way that she ended her professional career. We've got some footage from a US bar where they were watching her penalty miss. Yes, on US social media today, there has been widespread mockery of their women's national team's failure. And Benny Johnson from Turning Point USA summed it up well. He tweeted, "Fact, the US women's soccer team has accomplished something truly remarkable. They have somehow managed to make the vast majority of the nation they represent cheer against them and celebrate their failure. No other national team on earth has done this." And of course, Megan Rapinoe, she is a full social justice warrior. She took the knee for Black Lives Matter during the national anthem, and you can see by her hair, dyed different colors, that signifies that she's a social justice warrior and also a lesbian as well. She's a full alphabet activist as well. She has been involved in numerous incidents where she's disrespected the public at events, including not looking at a child when she was signing his ball. She was asked after the game what are her biggest memories as a professional women's soccer player.
Is there a memory that stands out to you right now in this moment?
I mean, probably equal pay chance after the final. And I think, they were saying equal pay, but could have been saying a lot of things. I think this team has always fought for so much more, and that's been the most rewarding part for me. Of course, playing in World Cups and winning championships and doing all that, but to know that we've used our really special talent to do something, that's really like changed the world forever. I think that means the most to me, and the players in this locker room here, they're just getting started, and to all the players that I've played with, obviously, who know what it's like to be in the grind. That's the best part.
Yeah, she's proud of championing equal pay with the men's US national soccer team, and of course the women's soccer team, they're just as talented as the men's, even though back in 2017 the women's national team lost to the under-15 boys squad of FC Dallas 5-2 in a friendly match. And Megan Rapinoe, she has said that she would welcome trans women to play in women's soccer in the US. Maybe then they'd be able to beat the under-15s. But there's not going to be much soccer practice over in the United States at the moment, since they're using soccer pitches to house illegal immigrants. So that is what they post this World Cup. They're all going to be occupied, the soccer fields, by illegal immigrants, since they're now starting to go over to liberal cities. And now, as we're going to air tonight, the Matildas are going up against Denmark for a place in the quarterfinals. England just beat Nigeria in another penalty shootout. Obviously, our most famous Matilda, Sam Kerr, the captain, she is on the bench again, coming off a calf injury. And the Matildas, they aren't political. Like, obviously, Sam Kerr, she's lesbian and she wanted to wear the One Love armband, but FIFA banned captains from wearing them, but she just got on with it. She's not a carry-on activist like Megan Rapinoe is. So all of Australia is behind the Matildas tonight. But did you know that the Australian Diamonds netball team won the Netball World Cup against England? But nobody cares, because they're a bunch of woke activists as well. They didn't want Gina Rinehart's sponsorship money, but they took Dictator Dan's sponsorship money from Victorian taxpayers for Visit Victoria. And Netball Australia is in a whole lot of financial trouble, with the Collingwood Magpies netball team collapsing. Dawn Browning said, imagine her baking bread with them tatty nails. Congratulations, Dawn, on the birth of your third grandchild. That is quite an achievement there. I probably should have commented on your Twitter your Twitter post to congratulate you there. Now, let's stay in Australia for the time being. And today, the ACT government released the full Walter Sofronoff inquiry into the prosecution of Bruce Lehrmann in the ACT, who Brittany Higgins accused of raping her. And now Shane Drumgold, the ACT Director of Public Prosecution, he was the one who called for this inquiry, but he's scored the biggest own goal in legal history, I think, given that it has disgraced him. He wrote to the government saying we need this inquiry. Now, the ACT government had been sitting on this. Walter Sofronoff, the chair, he had sent an embargoed copy to the Australian and the ABC. there was a leak published to the Australian last week, though they said it didn't come from Walter Sofronoff. And the Australian reported that Walter Sofronoff had found Mr. Drumgold knowingly lied to the ACT Supreme Court, engaged in grossly unethical conduct, and made false representations to Chief Justice Lucy McCallum. And so he's been on extended leave since the beginning of public hearings. Was also found guilty of a serious breach of duty. And also Mr. Drumgold failed a golden rule by not disclosing a key evidence report to the defense. Now, in his resignation letter, he said he'd be denied procedural fairness. Oh, really? The nerve of this bloke. I mean, he sought to deny Bruce Lehrmann procedural fairness. So the ACT had been sitting on it. So their hand was forced this afternoon, and they released the full report. And the Chief Minister Andrew Barr, he spun it that the real villain was Walter Sofronoff for leaking his own report to journalists, not ruling out referring the matter to the Integrity Commission, even though Walter Sofronoff he was chosen to head this inquiry. So this is very obviously this is one of the biggest report backfires, and Shane Drumgold should be prosecuted over this. I mean, and if he's not, then the ACT is just as corrupt as the state of Victoria. And Andrew Barr, the Chief Minister, as he said that the government has conducted a preliminary review of 18 criminal cases that Mr. Drumgold conducted or participated in since his appointment in DPP, and they've concluded that it meets the threshold under Section 28 of the Director of Public Prosecutions Act. So they've dismissed the need for further review of previous cases. So this was stated by the Attorney General Shane Rattenbury. Bruce Lehrmann, he has stated that he is going to sue the ACT government. He has said he'll never work again because his name has been forever tarnished, even though he is not guilty. He is innocent, I should say, because it was a mistrial, but you're innocent until proven guilty. So Bruce Lehrmann is innocent, but Shane Drumgold, remember, he said that he wouldn't. He wouldn't retry Mr. Lehrmann because of the risk to Brittany Higgins' mental well-being. That he don't think that she would be able to cope with a retrial. But he was confident of a conviction. The report said Mr. Drumgold wasn't wrong to prosecute Mr. Lehrmann, and also condemn the police for giving Brittany Higgins counselling notes to the defence, and also misrepresent apparently the media misrepresented the support role that the Victims of Crime Commissioner gave to Brittany Higgins during the trial. So with the release of this full report, they're trying to reframe just how bad it was for the ACT legal system and its former Director of Public Prosecutions, Shane Drumgold. And of course, Brittany Higgins, she's now working at the UN with $3 million from the Australian taxpayers that Attorney General Mark Dreyfus just handed over during a one-day hearing. You remember I interviewed Bettina Arndt a couple of weeks ago on Wilmsfront. She says that a taxpayer should have that $3 million back. I said to her, I doubt that is going to happen. We know that Linda Reynolds, she is suing both Brittany Higgins and her partner, fiance, I should say, David Shiraz, for defamation. Bruce Lehrmann is still suing Network 10 and the ABC. So there is still going to be further revelations about just how scandalous this the leading case in the Me Too 2.0 in Australia has turned out to be. Now, let's move on to the latest with The Voice. Now, there was a devastating poll for the Yes campaign published in the News Corp papers yesterday, conducted by Redbridge. Its founding director, Kos Samaras, a long-time Victorian Labor campaign director and strategist. So he's supportive of the Voice. So he must have been devastated at his own polling. So nationally, a no is now ahead 56 to 44% in us. And in New South Wales, it is ahead 56-44%. Even in Victoria, it is 55 to 45% no in favour. So Victoria is not a lost state. 63 to 37% in Queensland and 54 to 46% in all the other states of territories. Now, Redbridge provides a breakdown by income and education status. The implication being that the lowly educated and poor people are more likely to vote no, basically saying, well, if you're more highly educated, then you're more basically saying that education is the key to making it so that people vote yes to these sorts of projects of the elites. Even though the more that the general public learn about The Voice, the more they are firming in the no camp. In fact, the breakdown of this poll is that the hard no vote is 37% who will vote no. Definitely will vote no, such as myself, and the hard yes vote is only 21%. So there are more hard no's than hard yeses. But Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, he is determined to drive off that political cliff with the Voice. He was at the Garma Festival in Arnhem Land on the weekend, which has now taken on basically a religious mythological reverence amongst the elites and the business virtue signalers, even though it was only founded in 1999 by Mara Yuapingu, the Yothu Yindi singer, who, of course, their most famous hit is Treaty. So it is not like the Aboriginal flag, which was only created in 1971 by Harold Thomas, the Welcome to Country 1976 created by Annie Dingo. Garma is only was created in 1999. So these are not ancient traditions, events. They're all invented just in the past 50 plus years. And Arnhem Land, it is not like other parts of Australia where you can just travel to. There's not free travel there. You have to get a permit from the Aboriginals who live there. Now, a ticket to Garma, the permit is included if you can afford a ticket. So this is for a full Garma pass. It is $2,750 for an adult. But if you're a TAFE or uni student, only costs you $1,850. For a primary or high school student, $1,650. And well, children under 5 get in for free, but yeah, extremely affordable. And now ABC Insiders yesterday hosted a special from Gama where David Spears, the host, interviewed Anthony Albanese, where he said that it's all or nothing with The Voice. There's going to be no delay. It's going to be sometime in October. Looks like he's going to be keeping the date close to his chest, then announce it and have a quick referendum campaign where he hopes that he can catch the no campaign off guard. Now, one of the panelists made this accusation against the no campaign.
70, 80%. Online, the No campaign have multiple social media pages. Some of them now are using AI with a black Indigenous character to try and look like it's an Indigenous person supporting the No campaign.
Crikey.
Yes.
Sorry, did you say that was from the No campaign or from some random?
No, from the No campaign. And they're supporting obviously different voices, and they're under the guise of moderate voices against The Voice, like it's Australians for Unity, but they're using AI of a black character that is supporting the No case.
Okay. Look, I want to show you this too. I caught up here at Gama with Noel Pearson, Cape York.
Now, these AI generated ads, the only no campaigner doing this is Philip Mobbs, a businessman who has his own group, Constitutional Equality. So he said that he did not intend for artificial intelligence advertisements to depict Indigenous persons, and that he planned to publish more campaign ads featuring other characters in different languages soon. So the journalist who made this accusation on Insiders, John Paul Janke, his Twitter account is locked. He implied that it was the larger no campaign, and Warren Mundine and Jacinta Price said this is outrageous lie. I mean, the Indigenous people and elders who are fronting their ads are real Indigenous people out on the ground. This is Yanita Knapp.
We need to walk a shared path again, but it's not to do with The Voice. I vote no.
Authorised by Noongai Warren Mundine, Australians for Unity, Canberra.
And that is Warren Mundine's real voice. Now, Warren Mundine, he pulled out of the Gama Q&A tonight. The no campaign and also the Liberal Party, the ones apart from the ones who are obviously voting yes, have boycotted Gama since it has become an elite fest. The ABC Q&A program is now going to have there's going to be entirely yes panel. And Patricia Carvella, she's got the sack tonight because she's not Indigenous, she's Greek. So Indigenous ABC reporter, the official voice reporter for the ABC, Dan Borsha, is the host. And as you can see, he looks very Indigenous, though it doesn't look like he's gone for the tan Grant spray tan. It looks like he's more got the Oompa Loompa tan there. And Dan Borsha is also gay as well, so double diversity points there. So Millinginger McCarthy, the assistant Indigenous Australians minister, is on there. Marxist Marcia Langton, who of course authored the official voice report, the Karma Langton report. Meriki Gambara Stubbs, a principal at Yurikai Community School and author. Ben Abatango, of course, he looks very Aboriginal as well. Gunatari and Wadatol journalist and writer. And Taylor Gray, she looks very Indigenous as well. Proud Wiradjuri woman and lawyer. I think that most of the nation will be glued to the Matildas tonight. Lady Charlotte asked, do the Aborigines approve of homosexuality? Well, it depends which ones you ask. There are obviously ones who support traditional sexual marital relations, and then there's others who say that the left puts out is that these indigenous cultures, they always had two-spirit other kin homosexual relations. That's why the Canadian LGBT acronym has 2SL at the beginning for two spirit. That's what it stands for at the start. And now Albanese, of course, he was caught out last week lying, saying the Voice is not about a treaty, even though he wore that midnight oil shirt, Voice Truth Treaty. And he said he supports the Uluru Statement from the Heart in full, which also calls for truth and treaty as well as a voice. And Albanese, he's been busted with this other lie about the Uluru Statement from the Heart.
The Uluru Statement from the Heart does speak to our hearts. A short document, long in the making. It is a masterclass in spare eloquence. I keep a copy of it on the wall of my office in Parliament House, and there isn't a day that I don't look up to it. Sometimes I focus on a couple of lines, but often I read it right through. If you haven't, I do recommend that you do. Like the Gettysburg Address, it only requires a few minutes. It literally fits on one A4 page.
It fits on one A4 page if you shrink down 26 pages into one A4 page with little bitty tiny writing. So he has 26 pages on his wall in his Prime Minister's office. And Peter Credlin, she exposed this deceit on her Sky News program last week. And they've already, the Albanese government has already funded a Makarrata commission, the next stage of the Uluru process, with $5 million, which is part of a treaty and truth-telling process. It means coming together after a struggle, because the Voice document talks about the invasion of Botany Bay as the fundamental grievance of First Nations, and that the Tasmanian genocide and the Black War was waged by colonialists, even though the frontier wars, largely fake history. Yes, there were outbreaks of violence between the British settlers and the Indigenous tribes, but there are also times of collaboration and peace. Albanese said, "Oh, it's not the role of the federal government to have a treaty. Oh, that's by the states." So he's trying to weasel his way out of it. And also going down here, they get very specific. What the Uluru Statement does about what they want of the Voice. So they want the Voice to be accommodated on an appropriate site within the parliamentary circle in Canberra, that it must be supported by a sufficient and guaranteed budget with access to its own independent secretariat, expert and lawyers. And also the most concerning part of the document is on page 19, which includes reparations. So they are seeking a percentage of GDP, the resolution of land, water, and resource issues. Reparations compensation paid by taxpayers, including options such as financial settlement, based on a percentage of Australia's GDP. Even though we are giving these Indigenous bodies billions and billions of dollars each year, from the annual budget there. So if you want to call it paying the rent or reparations, that's well and truly already being paid. Now, the Western Australian state government led by Roger Cook, they got backflipping on the Aboriginal cultural heritage laws, which basically was grinding mining and agricultural projects to a halt. You remember the tree planting that couldn't go ahead along the Canning River because the CEO of some Aboriginal land corporation said you can't plant because of this law unless you pay me pay my corporation $2 million that the federal government has promised me. Now, Roger Cook just 2 weeks ago called critics of the law racist. Now they're going to be scrapped completely. I mean, you still have to give him credit, Roger Cook, for performing such a backflip. I mean, it's nice to listen. Nice that politicians do listen. I mean, there was a scary poll which showed that the Liberal rump of 2 seats could win the next WA state election if it was held today. There was a 30% swing against the Labor Party on primaries at the Rockingham by-election, though the state Liberals didn't do too much better. An independent Labor candidate started second. So Roger Cook is hoping that by canning these laws, that will stop the slide in support for his government and also slide in support for the Yes campaign as well, even though the experiment of the Aboriginal cultural heritage laws has given us a taste of what the voice will be if it's inserted into the Constitution, which you can't repeal without a referendum. Though in Dan Andrews' Victoria, it is still full stream ahead with implementing truth and treaty. And as part of that, all new government schools in Victoria are going to be given First Nations names to prioritise Indigenous recognition. So this is part of the Department of Education's school, campus and naming policy to prioritise the consideration of local Aboriginal cultural and heritage names. And also this week, as part of a new settlement agreement with local Indigenous tribes or First Peoples tribes. So 10 Victorian councils, a lot of them are in Western Victoria, an area half the size of Tasmania. So this settlement agreement includes a list of proposals that would hand Indigenous groups sweeping powers to rename all roads, bridges and public spaces, co-manage waterways and biosecurity, as well as preferential access to council procurement, contracts and jobs. The government insists the deal does not contain legal obligations to impact current laws, but as an aspirational list. Of course, they always say that. So no wonder with us Victorians being bombarded with this rewriting of how policy and all sorts of things are governed in Victoria. Of course, there's the First Peoples Assembly that was just implemented by Dan Andrews' government. Of course, they're going to be signing a treaty as well with I guess all the First Nations tribes in Victoria, because they want not just one homogenous blob Aboriginal people. They're all different tribes. They never formed that's why there was no nation before British settlers arrived. So no wonder No is now winning in Victoria. Now, Dan Andrews was off sick last week with an undisclosed illness. A lot of people were speculating what it could be. Was it a side effect from his recent booster? Did he fall down another flight of stairs? Or were he and Kath the two locally acquired monkeypox cases? There was an alert put out by our new Chief Health Officer, Dr. Claire Lookup, that there were 2 local monkeypox cases. Or maybe they had that new gastro that there was also a health alert for as well. But he was back Sunday and had to clean up after one of his own MPs, who he was now kicked out of the Victorian Parliamentary Labor Party, Will Fowles, who previously kicked in a hotel door in Canberra in 2019, which he blamed on mental health issues and substance issues. He has, according to the Herald Sun, been accused of a sexual assault on a female government employee. Now, Dan Andrews said he's referred the serious incident to Victoria Police. The Victoria Police said no victim has made a complaint. Will Fowles denies it. He wants to clear his name, he said, and he'll be staying in Parliament and believes his suspension from the Parliamentary Labor Party will be temporary. So Dan cutting him loose. Obviously, Dan thinks it's bad enough that he can't defend him anymore. Now, he used to be the member for Burwood, Will Fowles, but he was parachuted into Ringwood because the incumbent Labor MP for Ringwood was disendorsed by the Labor Party because he had sex inside Parliament House. So Will Fowles, the alleged assault happened inside Parliament House, according to witnesses. So according to a Spring Street insider, he looked like absolute shit, greasy, red, and wrecked. And he, as the another witness described his behavior as super sleazy. So sources also suggested Mr. Fowles' relationship with his second wife, Jessica, had recently broken down. And he had also missed a recent community constituent event as well. It says here in this article. So Dan Andrews is away for a week, and the wheels start to fall off. There's also two Labor MPs have been referred to the Speaker for confronting the Greens member for Brunswick, Tim Reid, in the corridors of Parliament, shouting at him for supporting the coalition's inquiry into the cancellation of the Commonwealth Games. So, yes, like when Gaddafi and Saddam were overthrown in Iraq and Libya, respectively, when the dictator goes, there's a power vacuum and all the different factions fight amongst themselves. The whole show falls apart because Dan rules that caucus room with an iron fist, and clearly his anointed successor, Jacinta Allen, she's just been acting premier for a week, and already the show has fallen apart. Now, moving on staying in Victoria. So Tom Sewell and Jacob Hirschnert, they are pleading guilty to a charge of violent disorder. This is over they were charged with armed robbery so this was at the National Socialist Network camp at the Cathedral Ranges State Park in May the 8th, 2021. So they're followed by three Antifa, you could call them stalkers. They thought they were being really brave. Oh, we're going to, monitor these Nazis. But what happened, that members of the group that they were set upon by people wearing balaclavas before demands were made for their mobile phones. Police said one hiker crashed their car into a boulder in an attempt to get away. Obviously, Thomas Sewell, he had already been found guilty of assaulting that Afro-Caribbean security guard outside Channel 9 headquarters in March 2021. So the judge still has to approve this plea deal. So likely Thomas Sewell will get some time served, but I think both of them will have to do a few months in prison. But the local Antifa communists, they're very upset. They had the hashtag no deals for Nazis, and The Age also had an exclusive report that prominent neo-Nazi Thomas Sewell has praised war criminal Ben Roberts-Smith during a secret meeting at a suburban RSL where members of the group gathered to plan the future for the far-right organization. Yes, a secret meeting which they broadcast on the internet, that notoriously secret spear. And you can view the whole stream. It was deleted from YouTube, from the Joel and Blair YouTube channel. It's now on Thomas Sewell's Odyssey channel. But if you want to know what Thomas Sewell said, I can probably get away with playing this. This is the secret footage that The Age found of Thomas Sewell praising Ben Roberts-Smith.
Peasants be better than their kings. So when they're like, oh, you just got footy on your pie, it's like, fuck yes, we do. Fuck yes, we're killing you. Like, you know, yeah, anyway, I like Ben Roberts-Smith post. Anyway, so yeah, Hail Ben Roberts-Smith. This is a shout out to Ben Roberts-Smith. Down with Nick McKenzie. A message to Ben Roberts-Smith and all the special forces that are currently fighting for a gay, liberal Australia. When you're ready, we're here. We're here with you.
I wonder if when Nick McKenzie heard that, he cried in the car again, because you might remember I reported after watching Nick McKenzie's Stand documentary, revealed Nazis amongst us, when members of the NSN pointed out that, well, Nick McKenzie had tweeted himself that he was Jewish. He was upset because National Socialist Network members had pointed that out. His own tweet on Twitter, again, that's that notoriously private spear. So he cried in the car over that because they posted his own tweet. And now this on Friday night, it was Morgan C. Jonas's 200th MCJ report. He hadn't done a report for quite a while, so this was, I guess it was, you could call it a comeback special. It was he had a live audience. It was in Rowville. It might have been at the same Polish club that the Australian Peacemakers Christians Unite event was held. Now he had lots of special guests, but one of these special guests was Pastor Brian Heath, and 7 News had this exclusive that his daughter Renee, a Liberal MP, was in the audience to support her father. Who would have thought that this was 7 News's exclusive report?
Fresh turmoil is brewing within the Victorian Liberal Party after a rogue MP attended a secret event hosted by a right-wing political party. Renee Heath's colleagues are furious with the opposition leader now under pressure to deal with the controversy.
Liberal MP Renee Heath socialising at an event hosted by the leader of the Freedom Party.
Getting together in the name of freedom.
The Upper House MP's attendance at last night's event has infuriated Liberal colleagues, several telling 7 News it was highly inappropriate given the party's views.
The Freedom Party began at the time Victoria was in COVID-19 lockdowns, and some linked to the party have been highly sceptical of the COVID-19 vaccinations. They were highly critical of the lockdowns.
But Miss Heath says she was only there to support her father.
How about we all think of influencing 10 people and seeing the movement grow?
Brian Heath is a Liberal Party member and pastor at the City Builders Church. He's been accused of trying to expand the influence of the religious right within the Liberal Party.
This is how we're going to stop the rot. You know, this is how we're going to strategically go into regions and shift the spheres of influence.
Renee Heath is adamant her attendance at the event hasn't breached the party's constitution. But senior Liberals have told 7 News they strongly disagree, saying her attendance is not only concerning, but a clear breach of the rules.
It's a highly disruptive event to have been involved in, so close to a Warrandyte by-election.
And it's left senior Liberals seething after weeks of making ground against the state government on Commonwealth Games.
The opposition leader's job is always very difficult, but when you have forces within your own party that are part of the disruption, then it becomes even more problematic.
John Pasuto refused to comment. Chanel Vella, 7 News.
Yes, the Freedom Party is far right because it opposed lockdowns and vaccine mandates. And I noticed that Senator Slayer and Lady of Shalott have made the point that Morgan is not a Christian, he's Jewish, and had Brian Heath there because Brian Heath is pro-freedom. Now, obviously, it seems that 7 News did this piece. Their political editor, Chanel Vella, she is a far leftist. She loved Brett Sutton and called those who broke COVID rules dickheads on Twitter. So yes, that's all it qualifies to be far right, and obviously they want to, by putting questions to John Pasuto, they are hoping that Renee Heath is expelled from the parliamentary party room like Moira Deeming was as well. You remember when Moira Deeming was expelled from the Victorian Liberal parliamentary party room, Renee Heath was stripped of being the party room secretary. And of course, Nick McKenzie, he went after Renee Heath even before she was elected with another 60 Minutes piece on her father. Interviewed Renee's sister, Brian's daughter, and he said that it was pretty sick of her father to arrange a marriage of his daughter to a homosexual man. I mean, that's very editorializing there. So that was, and Matt Guy said after that, oh, Renee Heath's not going to sit in the party room after she gets elected. So Morgan C. Jonas, he's back, though David Hiscock of the XYZ announced last night that he was calling it a day. There will be no longer new content published on the XYZ, though all the content will still be on the website. So Dave wrote that he is burnt out and he's going to do other things. He'll no longer write or edit the XYZ, but it'll leave the site up for posterity. I've ended all in real life activism. We'll no longer do live streams, and XYZ social media has been shut down. I do know that even today, the XYZ Telegram channel was sharing content from other channels. I assume this is also going to be the end of XYZ Live. I guess it will continue on as just the Races podcast, because it was basically the Races plus a David Hiscock and other XYZ contributors such as Ryan Fletcher and Stephen Wells. They're still posting. So is Dr. David Hilton. Now, I noticed that Slack Bastard and Dr. Cass Ross were celebrating it as a victory that this racist neo-Nazi website is shutting down. So they consider it a victory. I mean, how many times did they doxed that David Hiscock was a music teacher? Probably about, I don't know, at least 10 times over the years. But the Unshackled is here to stay. I'll keep producing my shows. I will keep editing the unshackled.net. I mean, I have had co-editors over the years. In fact, I co-founded the Unshackled. My co-founder was Sukath Fernando, so it was originally a joint project, but it has been pretty much just me. Sailing solo with obviously other contributors during that time. The COVID lockdowns really dented us because we had to shut down our studio up in Oakley South, which was quite a shame. It's on the wish list to reopen a studio, but it's just not viable at this time. If enough of you take out Unshackled memberships or give power chats, then I may be able to reopen it again, or me and Andy could do the theorists in person again with 100% reliable internet, not like the one that drops out here like it did last week. I'm still having trouble with it, though. It has held up better than last week. At the beginning of the show, it was just horrendous. Obviously, the Unshackled and the XYZ had a joint show for a while, the Uncuckables, from the start of 2019. It began after the Christchurch massacre, where all of us were deemed part of the far right in Australia, who were in some way responsible for or inspirational for Brent and Tarrant's actions. There was a I should have got it out. There was a collage in the Age which showed all of the far right organizations in Australia, and the Unshackled and XYZ were mentioned. The Uncuckables was a fun project, probably the best episode that we ever did. Was in September 2020. The episode was entitled Big Fat Brother, which obviously was named after Luke Cornelius, because that was the darkest time for Victoria, with that stage 4 lockdown, and of course Luke Cornelius saying we'll be ready for you, arresting Zoe Bueller in her pajamas, saying she'd engaged in serious criminal behavior. In my opinion, so that episode was inspired by, this is the greatest XYZ article of all time, and part of his poorly labeled satire. Assistant Commissioner Luke Fatty Cornelius scoffs 57 donuts during press conference. That was easily Dave's greatest ever article. And the Uncuckables website is still up, by the way. It was also a co-production with James Fox Higgins of where have I got it here, of the Rational Rise, who has also disappeared. So we've got our, oh whoops, I haven't got the cross posting there. As you can see, I haven't updated it, where I've got a cross poster where I do but it's accidentally cross posted TU articles to there. So I'll have to fix that up and make sure that it's a proper archive there. But I digress. We had lots of contributors over the years to the Uncuckables. Matty Rose as well. He's also not producing anymore. His last video was at the end of 2021 about the Freedom Rally in Melbourne. I don't think Dia Beltran is doing much. Australian Meditations, he was also another regular panelist. He's still got his Telegram channel and is also a member of National Socialist Network. The Uncuckables ended because XYZ was becoming a more, very explicitly white nationalist, National Socialist publication, which obviously I am not. And so we decided to end on a high, and I didn't really communicate with Dave since then. So yes, yeah, Medi just stopped producing things. It happens from time to time. People come and go, but I'm here to stay, and so will many of us. Lady of Charlotte, you are doing God's work, Wilmsfront. We would be lost without you, honestly. That's why I do the Unshackled productions, because of my loyal audience here. James Boom is coming late. Who is Nick McKenzie? Just rewind like 10, 15 minutes, and I'll give you a brief summary. And now it seems that Victoria Police, because it's going back to this Age article here. So there you go. Counter-terrorism police, they sought the CCTV footage of the nationalist. Oh, I'm back. Talk about the internet there. Yes, so counter-terrorism police sought the CCTV footage of the gathering. Well, it was filmed by the people at the seminar themselves, so I don't know what extra special footage by then. But it seems that the police, they spend so much of their resources now spying on National Socialists. I mean, I think in all our opinions, all of those resources would be better spent in trying to track down, arrest, and incarcerate child molesters like this monster. This was absolutely shocking that this, you would have heard this absolutely horrendous news. A Gold Coast man, Australian Federal Police announced last week, 45-year-old, he is facing 1,623 charges over the alleged sexual assault of 91 young girls at centres across Brisbane and Sydney over the span of 15 years. All of us were asking, how was he able to be undetected for that amount of time? And A Current Affair interviewed a former childcare manager, Yolanda Baruki, Eastern European lady. So she revealed how this monster, he was able to get access to the children alone because childcare ratios allow it, and what opportunity she claims were missed to protect them, because she first raised concerns about him when she noticed that he kissed a little girl on the forehead in front of her, and then he was also investigated when because he set up underneath a childcare play equipment like blankets and that. One of the other childcare workers noticed him kissing a little girl, and so he's investigated by the police, and so he was cleared. They believed him that he was only whispering in the girl's ear. So those were the two the two red flags. And when it was all revealed, she copped the abuse from the parents. Like, how could you allow this monster to work? She eventually pushed him out, but she was scapegoated by the childcare network. She was made redundant. Like, obviously, childcare centers, they're childcare workers, they're de facto parents. I mean, parents, they outsource their parenting to these childcare centers. Reverend Fred Nile, former New South Wales MLC, rightly called them day orphanages. And sadly, in this case, a predator has gamed this industry to commit horrific crimes. And she said that he embedded themselves in these families, that he like went to children's birthday parties, that kind of how the pedophile priests used to embed themselves in families and the communities. Lady of Shalott, do not dump your children in these places. Yeah, no way. Now, obviously, the almost all childcare workers they care about the children, but of course, in any institution or setting where there's access to children, these absolute monsters will utilize it to commit heinous, unspeakable acts. And also, a lot of us are wondering, did the parents notice any changes in behavior and the children? That's another thing we want to know. Now, a lot of the natural reaction to this story was this guy should be given the death penalty. He is the absolute scum of the scum. But I still don't support the death penalty, even for a monster such as him. I think still we need to be better than the barbarian. Certainly, he should be left to rot in prison for the rest of his life. And I wouldn't feel sad if some other inmates, bashed him from time to time. But yes, this cannot happen again. I hope this never happens again. How could this have happened in this day and age? I mean, it is reprehensible. And the fact that he was investigated and then cleared, I mean, there was an opportunity for his devices to be searched, and that he could have been. It could have been found out earlier. So yes, this follows on from last week's horrendous story that former ABC America News reporter who has pleaded guilty to child pornography, James Gordon Meek. I mean, we got an insight into his sick mind when he described raping a toddler girl as awesome and fantasized about drugging, kidnapping, and raping a 12-year-old girl. I mean, how can anyone think this way? That it's sick. It is monstrous. It is, and we still have these experts talking about, we need to be, compassionate to minor attracted people. We should reconsider age of consent laws. These sick fuckers. That's what they are. Sorry, I'm trying to find all of the most angry words I can to describe just how sick and depraved these people are. Now, moving back to Canberra this week. So before the Australian Senate, local Pfizer executives appeared, and thankfully on the Senate committee were Pauline Hanson and Malcolm Roberts of One Nation and Gerard Rennick of the Liberal National Party. And the Pfizer executives still had the nerve. This was Pauline Hanson's question about did you support government vaccine mandates for your product, which obviously they profited on.
Dr. Theroux, you actually made a comment that no one was forced to have the vaccination. Who made the comment? Was it Dr. Theroux?
I believe I made that comment.
You made that comment? Right. Mm-hmm. You were in Australia during COVID-19. You must have been fully aware that people, nurses, doctors, people to have their jobs, to keep their jobs, were forced to have the vaccination. Now, do you retract your statement that they were not forced?
Senator, no, I believe firmly that nobody was forced to have a vaccine. Mandates or vaccine requirements are determined by governments and health authorities. I believe everybody was offered an opportunity to get a vaccine or not get a vaccine. I don't believe that anybody was forced to take a vaccine.
A lot of Australians will disagree with you on that one.
That reminds me of the answer that Scott Morrison gave to Sherry Markson, saying, "Oh no, I never supported vaccine mandates. The federal government didn't mandate vaccines. That wasn't the medical advice. That was all the state and territory premiers, even though I facilitated it through the Medicare Express app." Now, Malcolm Roberts, one of his questions was about that Pfizer had a secret non-TGA tested batch for their own employees.
Read that your vaccine mandate was using your own batch of vaccine especially imported for Pfizer, which was not tested by the TGA. Is that correct?
Senator, so Pfizer undertook to import a batch of vaccine specifically for the employee vaccination program.
And Gerard Rennick, who, as we know, has lost pre-selection as a Liberal National Party of Queensland Senate candidate for the next federal election, he asked the Pfizer executives, well, whether their vaccine is still safe and effective.
And can you explain the process why the vaccine causes myocarditis and pericarditis?
I'll take that, Dr. Hewitt.
Sure.
Based on our clinical trials and pharmacovigilance data, as well as real-world evidence following the distribution now of billions of doses of vaccine, we retain confidence, strong confidence in the safety profile of the vaccine.
Sorry, Chair, point of order. I've asked, do you understand why it causes, I know that it's a low risk, I'm asking, do you understand why it causes myocarditis? I want you to explain to me why it causes myocarditis. Do you understand why it causes myocarditis?
Pfizer is aware of very rare reports of myocarditis and pericarditis that have been temporarily associated with vaccination.
Well, they're still ongoing for some people.
Senator Rennick, Dr. Through should answer the question. Thank you, Dr. Through.
According to public health experts and regulatory authorities around the globe, the number of reports of myocarditis remains small.
I'm not referring to the number of reports. I want you to explain to me the mechanism of how the vaccine causes myocarditis. Do you or do you not understand the mechanism of why the vaccine causes myocarditis? It looks to me like you don't. And if you don't understand it, why are you saying the vaccine is safe without qualifying the risks?
So, Senator Rennick, I think Dr. Thoreau is actually about to get to that point. Whether people agree, whether there's agreement to his evidence or not, is another question for others to make a judgment on. But if Dr. Thoreau, if you could again go to Senator Rennick's question.
Senator, all medicines, all therapeutic products and vaccines have benefits and have side effects as well. Looking at the totality of the evidence for Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine, regulatory authorities, health authorities, experts globally, including in Australia within the Department of Health and the TGA, have maintained that the benefit-risk ratio...
That's not the question that I asked. I asked, can you explain why the vaccine causes myocarditis? Yes or no?
And that's not the full exchange there. I mean, Gerard Rennick, he is tenacious, like Malcolm Roberts and Pauline Hanson and Alex Antic. Of course, they had their pre-prepared statements. They're kind of like how Linda Burney has a pre-prepared statement for question time answers on The Voice. Now, of course, with the COVID era, well, the scare over that the most of the world's population aren't scared of COVID anymore. It's back to climate change or global boiling now. And Greens Tasmanian Senator Nick McKim, he went on an epic global boiling rant which was triggered by Matt Canavan's heckling.
The planet is literally cooking. Mate, you can shut your mouth. You can shut your mouth. People are dying because of you and sociopaths like you.
Senator McKim,
I'm not going to cop interjections from sociopaths like Senator Canavan.
Senator
I will
McKim,
not
resume
cop
your
it.
seat.
And what they've got to answer for is death, disease, displacement, starvation, people dying of thirst, arable farming lands turning into desert, and most likely billions of people dead by the end of this century, and the collapse of the ecosystems that actually support all human life on this planet. That's what people like Senator Canavan have got to answer for.
Billions are going to die from global boiling. We're going to the world's going to turn into desert there, and they're over on the weather forecasting in Germany. The red map for the temperature, hot temperatures, is not enough, and so they added a bit extra.
Morgen der Nachmittag 26 bis 31 am Wasser, bei auflandigem Wind 18 bis 21.
Yes, the weather's on fire. It's cooking in Germany. Now, over in the UK, the Met Office, they haven't been able to scare the British population because it has been a wet and miserable summer. I mean, the rain cost England the Ashes. The Manchester Test was rained out, and so Australia retained the Ashes 2-2. So much for global boiling in the UK, which is maybe why the local UK media has switched back to COVID alarmism. And so there's this new Omicron subvariant, EG 5.1. Now they've given this fake name Erez, which I thought that was Taylor Swift's global tour, Erez. Remember, they started this year with that Kraken variant. That was a bust. Then there was Actress. Actually, Nick McKim's partner, Tasmanian Greens MP, Cassie O'Connor, she is Australia's last COVID cultist. She still wears a mask everywhere, still wants a mask mandate. She believes that masks are 100% effective in preventing infection. She also has that trans son who was at the Hobart Kelly J. Keane event protesting. Now, over in the US, we have Donald Trump now on his third criminal indictment, second one by special counsel Jack Smith over the events of January 6th. So he's being charged with conspiracy to defraud the United States and obstructing an official proceeding. So he's not being charged with treason, sedition, espionage, any of those, just with, conspiracy charges. They are nearly as wafer thin as obstruction of justice and disrupting an official proceeding. How about all of those BLM trans activists who've interrupted the legislatures all over the United States? Now, of course, he could be indicted again on the phone call to the Georgian governor, Kemp, asking, can you find some extra 10,000 votes for me? So it may not be over yet. It's going to be heard in DC, the Trump charges by a judge who has sent January 6 defendants to prison, even when the the prosecution didn't recommend that they should be sent to jail. Now, Mike Pence, whose presidential campaign is flatlining, likely the other rhinos. It seems that Mike Pence, the average Republican, it's not my concern about Mike Pence's presidential campaign. They're not interested. This was Mike Pence's NPC rhino statement about the importance of the president not being above the Constitution.
But let me be very clear. I'm running for president. But let me be because I don't think anyone who ever puts himself over the Constitution should ever be president or should ever be president again. This country's in a lot of trouble. And we've got to get back to basics. We've got to get back to keeping faith with the Constitution. We've got to get back to the policies that'll make our economy strong, that'll secure our border, that'll support our military, that'll defend our liberties and our values that are under a steady assault by the Biden administration. And we're going to work our hearts out to earn the right to be that standard bearer.
Blah, blah, blah. I've heard that all before from NPC rhino Republicans. So Donald Trump on Truth Social posted, wow, it's finally happened. Little Mike Pence, the man who's about to be ousted as governor of Indiana until I came along and made him VP, has gone to the dark side. I never told a newly emboldened, not based on his 2% poll numbers, Pence to put me above the Constitution or that Mike was too honest. He's just delusional, and now he wants to show us he's a tough guy. I once read a major magazine article on Mike. It said he was not a very good person. I was surprised, but the article was right. Sad. And, of course, Mike Pence was heckled by Trump supporters. Now, Ron DeSantis, his presidential campaign is also flatlining, and he has accepted a Gavin Newsom debate challenge because Gavin Newsom, Gruesome Newsom, governor of California, is considered, well, the break class in case of emergency candidate if Joe Biden deteriorates anymore, or if that were possible, or dies. Now, I wonder if during that debate, Ron DeSantis will accuse Gavin Newsom of anti-Semitism because he was asked at a town hall that some of your supporters are anti-Semites. And so Ron DeSantis, he decided to list all of his pro-Jewish and pro-Zionist policies as governor of Florida.
Understand, those are not true supporters of mine. That is an operation to try to link me to something so that it smears me. I can tell you what we've done since I've been governor. You know, we've put in $12 million for security at Jewish day schools because we're not going to let those schools be attacked. We beefed up Holocaust education standards. We have the strongest Holocaust education standards in the entire country. I gave the Florida Medal of Freedom to Ben Ferencz, the last surviving prosecutor at Nuremberg. He's since passed away, but he was somebody that we looked up to, and we're proud that he was a Floridian. We've enacted universal school choice so that parents can send their kids to Jewish day schools and to other schools, which we think are important. I signed the first bill in America to go after anti-Semitism in our universities. I actually signed that in the American Embassy in Jerusalem in 2019, and we said, listen, we're not going to let our universities become a hotbed of anti-Semitism. We're going to treat that just like we treat racism, and we led the way on that. And most recently, I was in Israel for the 75th anniversary. I keynoted an event at the Museum of Tolerance, and I signed another piece of legislation to go after people that are commandeering property of others, including synagogues, to do things like show swastikas. So we're going to hold them accountable. I said when I was running we'd be the most pro-Israel state in America. I delivered on that, and we are the #1 state for Jewish in-migration of any state in this country. So we've gotten all those policies right. And what I would say is there are people that are doing things like that. They are trying to divide by using that as a weapon against me. Those were not my supporters, because if they were my supporters, they would be on the side of every step I've taken. There's been nobody that's been stronger on these issues in any part of the country than me. We're proud of that. And as president, we're going to fight organizations like the United Nations when they target Israel. We're going to fight against the BDS movement when they try to single out Israel as the world's only Jewish state. We're going to go after these third world countries that have become hotbeds of anti-Semitism. We've always stood strong. We'll continue to stand strong. And that's just the way it's going to be. We're proud in Florida that there's more Orthodox Jews moving into my state than is moving into any other state in the United States. They would not be doing that if they didn't see policies that were very positive.
Although my grand
So, yeah, you heard there, Ron DeSantis, he is going to target countries who he deems anti-Semitic, which is, I mean, that's neoconservatism 101. I mean, when someone tells you who they are up front, believe them. So Ron DeSantis will clearly not be an America First president if he is going to decide to target countries that have nothing to do with the United States, if he deems that they are going, they have anti-Semitic policies. Now, over in New York, there was a riot which the New York Mayor Eric Adams and the New York Police Department blamed on a Twitch live streamer, Kai Cenat. He was so they've charged him with inciting a riot and promoting an unlawful gathering after he drew thousands of his followers with promises of giving away electronics, including a new PlayStation. So they didn't even have to smash any windows to loot PlayStations from stores. He was giving them away, yet they still caused a riot. So over 1,000 police officers had to be deployed. So this was some of the violence at Union Square. So yes, they I don't know how they can charge this influencer. Yes, he didn't have a permit for the public event, but how can they charge him with inciting a riot? I mean, he didn't. He's not a Black Lives Matter activist. I mean, he was just saying, like, look, I'm giving away free things. And so he is clearly just a scapegoat for the embarrassed New York authorities who have just had this lawlessness break out. Now, down in Alabama, there was another Jussie Smollett. This Alabama woman, she has Carly Russell. She has been charged with false reporting to a law enforcement and false reporting after she confessed to faking her own kidnapping earlier this month. Well, at least she confessed to it, unlike Jussie Smollett, who still claims that he was attacked by two white supremacists in Chicago, who said this is MAGA country. So she went missing on July 13 after she had called 911 to report a toddler alone on the highway. When her voice dropped off the call, she returned home on foot close to 48 hours later. Police revealed she had confessed to the hoax at a press conference. And so police initially expressed their doubts about Russell's story at a press conference, noting she had very strange internet searches in the days leading up to her disappearance. No evidence of a toddler walking on the busy highway. So she typed into search engines, do you have to pay for an Amber Alert? She also looked into a Birmingham bus station and a one-way bus ticket from Birmingham to Nashville with a departure date of July 13, in addition to looking up for the movie Taken. And she also said that the suspect who kidnapped her was a white guy with orange hair who stripped her naked and took nudes of her. And she managed to escape, and she was all bruised and everything. Now moving on to another reported hate crime in New Zealand. You might remember Chanel Lau. He is the young New Zealander of the year who migrated from Fiji and who has Indian ethnicity. So he rages against the colonization, yet he is a descendant of a race that colonized Fiji. He led the protest against Kelly J. Keane in Auckland. Kelly J. Keane is coming back for the September court hearing of the intersex woman who assaulted Kelly J. Keane with the tomato juice. I just gotta remember their name there. So anyway, we'll focus on Chanel Lau. So yeah, he claims that he's transgender because he uses they, them pronouns, but based on his own slutty Instagram photos, I mean, he's a self-confessed slut. I mean, he clearly has male genitals, a male bulge in his underwear, and is flat-chested. I mean, wearing a dress and makeup doesn't make you trans. I agree with Gavin McGuinness, who says if you're going to be trans, I'd appreciate a bit more effort. So he said his house was broken into, and he first believed that it was a random target, but he says things took an insidious turn when I received a message on Thursday night from a burner account saying they would come back for me. And so this account so said, we will get you next time, groomer. Stay away from our children. Watch your back. We will come back for you. You fuck you, pedo. And he has also he's denied that it is a staged hate crime to claim insurance because it has been alleged that 1,000 copies of his new memoir, one of them, were stolen there. He's denied that he bought 1,000 copies of his book to prop up sales there. His book is actually, he posted an extract on his Instagram. It's really filthy. It talks about his, in graphic detail, his first homosexual experience in Fiji when he was 14. And he denies being a groomer. This is what he said recently.
I think parents are really mistaken. I do not want your child to be gay or transgender. I do not hope your child is gay or transgender. What I do hope and what I do want is that queer children get a chance to become queer adults. I fear that too many queer children do not get to grow up at all.
And when he was accepting the Young New Zealander of the Year award, he said that he'd be excited to go to hell if that's where gays are going.
Going to hell makes perfect sense with my fantasy. If all the gays are going to hell, that's where I want to be.
So he, in his book, he's talks about how he claims that he was subjected to gay conversion therapy in Fiji, which he blames on white colonization, because he believes, like I said before, that indigenous cultures before the evil white man showed up were tolerant of homosexuality and transgenderism. They had the two-spirit otherkin genders. So even though the safest place to be homosexual or transgender is white countries, he blames white people that homosexuality is not accepted and illegal in non-white countries. And I think he's quite the hypocrite. I mean, he rages against a white male colonization, but he's more than happy to let white men colonize him, if you get what I mean. And I wonder what was really stolen from his home, because he never specified what. Maybe it was something embarrassing like butt plugs, maybe white butt plugs, so he can simulate colonization. Now another prominent shall we say practitioner of colonization, the finance minister Grant Robertson. He was asked by the shadow finance minister Nikki Willis about his budget black hole.
How big is his hole? And
that is not in the public interest, I can assure you.
I remember Grant Robertson. He got away with liking an Instagram account of young Filipino men who, well, looked like young boys. He quietly unliked it, and that was the end of it there. But that wasn't the only you would say light moment in the New Zealand Parliament. Opposition leader Chris Luxon did a bit of bowling in the New Zealand Parliament.
Facing an over-from Chris Luxon at Parliament.
Oh, that is the biggest card on. No, that was rough.
Bouncing.
Lefties on Twitter was saying, "Oh, white male privilege. He's allowed to damage the parliament and get away with it." Even though I thought they'd love to love to destroy the parliament if they got the chance. That's New Zealand news for the week, and I provide the Australian news on New Zealand Radio Now Weekly. I have a regular spot on Tuesday mornings on the Reality Check Radio breakfast program with Paul Brennan. I post my most recent appearances on the Unshackled unshackled.net. So tomorrow I'm going to be talking about the latest on the Voice, and of course what's happened here in Victoria as well. So Reality Check Radio, it only recently started, but it is gaining lots of traction. So I'm so glad that I've become a regular contributor. And of course, if you want to support the work of the Unshackled, you can take out an Unshackled Premium membership, bronze $5 per month, silver $10 per month, gold $25 per month, platinum $50 per month. I'll be back tomorrow night with The Theorist with Andy Nolch at 9 p.m. Melbourne time on the Theorist YouTube channel. And I will put the link into the live chat again. So thank you once again, everybody, for your continued support. A paleoconservative Australian asks, have I got any guests this week? No, I haven't, but it might be time that I interview a South African, given that Julius Malema has been singing the Shoot the Farmer, Kill the Boer song again. And, well, South African toxic race politics is what the race activists are trying to inject in Australia with the voice. And I'll leave with you tonight because I didn't play it earlier on. I'm not sure if you saw it. This woman, white woman, being told to get off this public land because she is not Aboriginal.
We own this land to the exclusivity of all others, which comes under federal native title. You might not like it, but guess what? Times are changing. You don't own the land, we do. Get off it, please. Off our land. Off our land.
Your mother came.
Off our land.
Your mother.
Off my land. Nanyambana. Shua. Jauda Mangabanya.
Native title, exclusive rights. Not non-exclusive, exclusive. We might put up a great big fence and cut all of your views. Keep going.
Tim's News Explosion. 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 Tim's News Explosion.